Today, we are diving deep into why negative feelings and increased bodily sensations are a sign of progress. Warriors, let's go. Warriors, welcome to another important video on my channel. If you have not subscribed yet to this channel, please do that and receive the very best anxiety support on YouTube starting today. Friends, we are making a massive mistake perceptually during our anxiety recovery because there are a lot of people out there that are doing the right things. Right? They're applying the right methods. They have the right mindset. And as they're going about their anxiety healing from one day to the next, sometimes they experience these negative feelings, negative emotions, and increased bodily sensations. Today, I'm going to make it very clear as to what these negative feelings and emotions really mean, so that you can stop believing the interpretations coming from your anxiety identity and start believing in what's really happening, my friends. Because honestly, I get excited when somebody comes to me and says, Dennis, I've gone from fear and anxiety to depression, or now I feel very irritable, or now I have this increase in bodily sensations and my bodily symptoms of anxiety are changing now, or they're moving from one body part to the next. And I'm going, that's a fantastic sign. And they're going, what, Dennis? That's kind of weird. Let me explain, all right? First of all, we start with fear and anxiety because that's why we're here in this channel, right? Fear and anxiety are pent up, emotionally charged energy in the body, which the mind looks to justify, right? So you can think of your fear and anxiety where you are right now as this accumulation of energy. Now, what happens when you start to think of anxiety as an accumulation of energy? It's not as threatening as the interpretations you get, say, from Google or another friend of yours who's had similar sensations and symptoms, who have run into diseases or illnesses. You know, you can leave all that on the side and see it as pent up, accumulated energy stemming from past experiences and past relationships. When you see your fear and anxiety like that, you start to disassociate, or you start to disconnect from going down that catastrophic route. Okay, so first and foremost, let's really see it for what it really is. Now, on this journey towards healing, people will go from fear and anxiety to this sense of sadness and potentially depression. If this is you right now, comment below because I want to hear from you. This is a two-way thing, my friends. Sadness and potential depression are signs of the lower self being revealed and detached from. This is so important. It's so important that you take on this interpretation, all right? Because now what's happening is your lower self, or inner child, or subconscious mind, however you want to see it, is revealed, right? They're kind of like, they're naked now. Because now you're starting to go, well, I'm not seeing the anxiety from a bodily perspective, right? And I'm not seeing it from a catastrophic perspective as my mind likes to see it. But rather, I'm seeing it as a buildup of pent emotions and an anxiety identity that wants to stay alive for the sake of my protection, right? Thank you, lower self, for all the protection, but the truth is we are moving up the consciousness scale now. We are no longer living through fear and anxiety and this feeling of being incapable, because we are limitless, and now we're starting to tap into it. So if you're feeling sad or potentially depressed, understand that that is a sign that you are now revealing the truth. Okay, you are revealing the truth behind what your anxiety really is and what your irrational fears really are. Okay, I hope this makes you feel a little bit different towards these feelings and emotions. Now, often we go from sadness and depression to anger and irritability. Are you there right now? I know I've gone through this stage myself, right? And this is a sign that there is now energy and intention to be used towards expression. Oh my goodness. Can you imagine if instead of you seeing your irritability and instead of you seeing your anger as something that's bad and something that's going to harm you, the people around you, and the world, instead of seeing it like that, what if you saw it as energy that is ready to be used and a sign that you can now express what it is you couldn't express before? That's a more than anxiety moment right there. Because now you don't have to live this suppressive life saying, I have to suppress my ideas. I have to suppress my creativity. I have to hide my feelings and emotions from everybody because they may think that I'm crazy, right? And this sort of thing, right? So you no longer live a life of suppression. And now you see the anger and irritability as an energetic sign that you can now express the things that you once suppressed so dearly. Oh my goodness, what an opportunity for us. We can now understand that living a peaceful life doesn't mean living a suppressive life, right? It doesn't mean that we have to suppress everything. We have to be the person in the corner that sits there and, kind of gives everybody the smile and says everything's just fine on the outside while on the inside there's so much chaos and turmoil, right? No, we can be expressive. We can talk about our fears. We can talk about our angers now. We can be open about what's really going on in our life. We can be open about what took place in our past. So anger and irritability, as it shows up in your anxiety healing journey, is a sign that it's time to express and use the energy that's given to you. Then, after that, we tend to move into bewilderment. Bewilderment, right? Which is a sign of emotional neutrality. Oh my God, you have just passed that middle area that David Hawkins likes to talk about in his consciousness map called courage. Now you're using energy, right? And you're in a place of bewilderment, like, I'm a little confused here. I don't really know who I am anymore, right? I don't know how to really act around people. I don't really even know what my true purpose of this life really is. I don't know how to see my anxiety anymore. Now, this is a massive sign of progress, because now what's happening is the ideas, the sensations, the bodily feelings, the old anxiety identity, all of those things are starting to die off, right? Because you're no longer being programmed by the world and other people from your past and present. You are now starting to question all those things without actually consciously questioning them. It's happening genuinely and naturally. So if you feel bewildered, understand that you are now emotionally neutral. You're in a place of neutrality. And from here, you get to make the choice. Understand that if you're feeling bewildered at this stage of your healing journey, now you have to let yourself know that you can choose whatever interpretation you want to choose depending on whatever situation arises externally or internally. So when a sensation shows up in the future, right, a bodily sensation, now you're like, well, I used to run towards franticness because that's what I felt like I needed to do. I had to take some kind of action right away to get rid of the sensation because I deemed it as a bad thing based on the programming that's given to me from the outside. But now, because I'm in a neutral phase, I'm in the neutral state now, moving up those states of consciousness, now I get to choose what this sensation means, right? And what this sensation really means is that I get bodily sensations because I am a human being, right? I get bodily sensations. I get anxiety symptoms of anxiety. I get fear symptoms. I get these symptoms. That's all part of being a human, right? And so now you're no longer attached to them. You're more so detached from them because you're in a state of bewilderment and neutrality. Okay, this is a great place to be in because now you're moving up. Then we move towards calmness. Calmness. I'm pretty calm, checking in to see if I've got any fear left in my stomach or heaviness in my shoulders. Do I have any anger or rage in my chest? Not really. Do I have any floppiness in my legs or sensitivity in my legs? Do they feel jelly-like? Not really. Sort of, but not really. And you're in this state of calm, which means that all the waves that used to come nice and high in that ocean are now starting to subside. You can see the ocean now as being this calm place. There's no longer all these waves coming at you externally and internally, right? What happens here in calmness is you stop fighting with yourself and you stop fighting with the world because you're no longer in a battle to preserve your old ego. You're no longer in a battle to preserve your old identity, your reputation. What happens here in calmness is you have no pride anymore. And if I say that to a lot of people, they're going to go, no, you have to protect your pride. You have to fight for your pride and who you are and what you stand for. Well, the truth is that the more fighting you do, the more anxious you're going to become, right? The more attached to suffering you're going to become. This is what we deem as being the addiction to suffering, right? It's to preserve the pride or preserve the ego. So now there's genuine peace and there's less fighting going on. Can you sense that at this stage of your calmness? If you're not there yet, don't allow any guilt to come in and say, oh, I'm not where Dennis is, saying I need to be right now. No. My friends, we're all on separate journeys, right? We're all on separate paths, and we all move up the scale of consciousness at different speeds, right? And you need to understand that right now you just have to be very gentle on yourself and say, I accept where I am right now, and I'm looking forward to the next step. I'm moving in the right direction because you're on this channel, you're listening to these videos, you're taking notes, you're commenting, you're doing some great things, and you're moving up now. After calmness, we get to the final stage. The stage of surrender. Oh my goodness, we have surrendered to life. Now, we have surrendered to life and all its ups and downs, okay? Control is now seen as an act of the lower self or subconscious mind, while we are moving directly into alignment with our higher selves. When you're in a place of surrender, you're no longer feeling like you need to enact your conscious mind to make any kind of decision for you. So it's not like something happens and I consciously think about it and I enact that thought anymore. Now there's a sense of kind of surrendering to whatever comes up internally or externally, seeing it all as life and no longer putting things into compartments. This is good, this is bad, this is safe, this is threatening, that sort of thing. And now you feel like there's a flow to your life. There's no more fighting. When someone criticizes you, you tend to go, oh man, I wish that person peace. I really wish them peace. If you're making videos and someone comments like, oh, that's the worst video I've ever seen, it didn't help me at all, you're going, well, I hope that person finds the content that they're looking for. That kind of response, right? You're no longer caught up in it because there's nothing to preserve. There's nothing to protect anymore. You don't have to protect your fears. You don't have to protect your anxiety. And in this place, because we have a finite amount of energy when we wake up in the morning, you are much more protective over that energy. You don't give it away to everybody. You don't give it away to social media. You're no longer going on your news feed on social media, scrolling up and down because you know that takes up energy. How can someone possibly overcome their anxiety and yet still be so stimulated by looking at their news feed day after day after day, and then they go, well, what I'm doing isn't working for me? No, that's not, look at what's really going on. You kind of want one thing, but you're not ready to give up another. You have to give up the things that continue to perpetuate your addiction to suffering in order to heal anxiety. until you're ready to give those things up, don't expect any change, my friends. This is a completely different lifestyle. That's why I'm telling people that healing anxiety, and when you go about certain reframing practices to heal your past, or responding practices that we talk about on YouTube, when you do these things for you, it's not to overcome anxiety and then go back to those old habits again, because that's who you believe you are. This is a lifestyle change. This is an identity change. You're going from living by the rules and guidance of your lower self to reattaching yourself to your higher self, which is who you were before the programming took place before the age of 7. Okay? And that's who you're going back to, that person who was free internally, externally, and that's what we're working towards. So everything that you're doing right now is a change in lifestyle. And you can start seeing this progress that we talked about today as being the true afterlife. This is the afterlife, my friends. The life after the life that society wanted you to live like. And now you're living your life the way you believe is best for you. Your perceptions are based on updated ways of thinking, updated belief systems, and updated identity. So now you can look back and just see how far you've come. Remember that you are more than anxiety. I love you. If this video spoke to you, give it a like for me. Please subscribe to this channel. It would help me so very much. And shoot a comment below, because I love the interactions. I love to hear what stage you're in right now in your anxiety healing journey, in your transformation. Have a wonderful day, because you deserve it. Bye-bye.